Der Blaue Reiter was a group of artists united in rejection of the Neue Künstlervereinigung München in Munich, Germany. The group was founded by a number of Russian emigrants, including Wassily Kandinsky, Alexej von Jawlensky, Marianne von Werefkin, and native German artists such as Franz Marc, Macke and Gabriele Münter. They considered that the principles of the Neue Künstlervereinigung München, a group Kandinsky had founded in 1909, had become too strict and traditional. Der Blaue Reiter was an art movement lasting from 1911 to 1914, fundamental to Expressionism, along with Die Brücke, which was founded in 1905. History: Wassily Kandinsky, Franz Marc, Macke, Alexej von Jawlensky, Marianne von Werefkin, Gabriele Münter, Lionel Feininger, Albert Bloch and others formed the group in response to the rejection of Kandinsky's painting Last Judgment from an exhibition. Der Blaue Reiter lacked an artistic manifesto, but it was centered on Kandinsky and Marc. Paul Klee was also involved. The name of the movement is the title of a painting that Kandinsky created in 1903, but it is unclear whether it is the origin of the name of the movement, as Professor Klaus Lankheit learned that the title of the painting had been overwritten. Kandinsky wrote 20 years later that the name is derived from Marc's enthusiasm for horses and Kandinsky's love of riders, combined with a shared love of the color blue. For Kandinsky, blue is the color of spirituality. The darker the blue, the more it awakens human desire for the eternal. Within the group, artistic approaches and aims varied from artist to artist. However, the artists shared a common desire to express spiritual truths through their art. They believed in the promotion of modern art, the connection between visual art and music, the spiritual and symbolic associations of color, and a spontaneous, intuitive approach to painting. Members were interested in European medieval art and primitivism, as well as the contemporary, non-figurative art scene in France. As a result of their encounters with Cubist, Fauvist and Raonist ideas, they moved towards abstraction. Der Blaue Reiter organized exhibitions in 1911 and 1912 that toured Germany. They also published an almanac featuring contemporary, primitive and folk art, along with children's paintings. In 1913, they exhibited in the first German Herbstsalon. The group was disrupted by the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. Franz Marc and Macke were killed in combat. Wassily Kandinsky, Marianne von Werefkin and Alexej von Jawlensky were forced to move back to Russia because of the Russian citizenship. There were also differences in opinion within the group. As a result, Der Blaue Reiter was short-lived, lasting for only 3 years from 1911 to 1914. Supported by their delegation, Kandinsky, Feininger, Klee and Alexej von Jawlensky formed Die Blaue Reiter group in 1923. Together they exhibited and lectured together in the United States from 1924 on. An extensive collection of paintings by Der Blaue Reiter is exhibited in the Städtische Gallery in the Lombardhaus in Munich. Almanac. Conceived in June 1911, Der Blaue Reiter Almanac was published in early 1912 by Piper, Munich, in an edition of 1,100 copies. On the 11th of May, Franz Marc received a first print. The volume was edited by Kandinsky and Marc. Its costs were underwritten by the industrialist and art collector Bernhard Kohler, a relative of Macke. It contained reproductions of more than 140 artworks and 14 major articles. A second volume was planned, but the start of World War I prevented it. Instead, a second edition of the original was printed in 1914, again by Piper. The contents of the almanac included Marc's essay, Spiritual Treasures, illustrated with children's drawings, German woodcuts, Chinese paintings, and Pablo Picasso's Woman with Mandolin at the Piano, an article by French critic Roger Allard on Cubism, Arnold Schoenberg's article, The Relationship to the Text, and a facsimile of his song, Herzschwachse. Facsimiles of song settings by Alban Berg and Anton Webern. Thomas de Hartmann's essay, Anarchy in Music, an article about Alexander Scriabin's Prometheus, the Poem of Fire, an article by Erwin von Busse on Robert Delaunay, illustrated with a print of his The Window on the City. Macque's essay, Masks, Kandinsky's essay on the question of form, Kandinsky's on-stage composition, Kandinsky's The Yellow Sound. The art reproduced in the almanac marked a dramatic turn away from a Eurocentric and conventional orientation. The selection was dominated by primitive, folk, and children's art, with pieces from the South Pacific and Africa, Japanese drawings, medieval German woodcuts and sculpture, Egyptian puppets, Russian folk art, and Bavarian religious art painted on glass. The 5 works by Van Gogh, Cézanne, and Gauguin were outnumbered by 7 from Henry Rousseau and 13 from child artists. Exhibitions. First exhibition December 18, 1911. The first exhibition of the editorial board of Der Blaue Reiter opened at the Heinrich Tannhäuser's Modern Gallery in Munich, running through the first days of 1912. 43 works by 14 artists were shown. Paintings by Henry Rousseau, Albert Bloch, David Berlach, Vladimir Berlach, Heinrich Campendonck, Robert Delaunay, Elizabeth Epstein, Eugen von Kahler, Wassily Kandinsky, August Macke, Franz Marc, Gabriele Münter, Jean Blaine Eastley and Arnold Schoenberg, and an illustrated catalogue edited. From January 1912 through July 1914, the exhibition toured Europe with venues in Cologne, Berlin, Bremen, Hagen, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Budapest, Oslo, Helsinki, Trondheim and Göteborg. Second exhibition February 12 through April 2, 1912. The second exhibition of the editorial board of Der Blaue Reiter showed works in black and amp white at the New Art Gallery of Hans Goltz in Munich. Other shows the artists of Der Blaue Reiter also participated in: 1912 Cologne, Sonderbund Westdeutsche Kunstfreund und Künstler, 1913 Berlin, Erste Deutsche Herbstsalon organized by Herwarth Walden and his Gallery Der Sturm. Members: Albert Bloch, David Berlach, Heinrich Campendonck, Clotilde von Derp, Lionel Feininger, Natalia Goncharova, Alexej von Jawlensky, Wassily Kandinsky, Paul Klee, August Macke, Franz Marc, Gabriele Münter, Arnold Schoenberg, Marianne von Werefkin, Alfred Cuban.